Greetings, my beautiful lovelies. It's Emmy. How are you? It's great to see you and welcome back. Today we're going to be tasting some cereals. I first saw these at my local grocery store and they are Snoop Dogg cereals. There are 3 different flavors. I saw them and I said, Snoop has cereals, sweet. And then a few weeks later, I saw Lucas Quan Peterson post from the LA Times comparing Snoop's cereals with some other cereals that have very similar names. And I said, that is a brilliant idea. So I'm here today to taste all 3 flavors of Snoop Dogg's cereal and compare them with cereal brands that I think many of us will know. Alrighty, let's go ahead and get started. So first, let me introduce you to the 3 flavors offered by Broadus Foods. Broadus as in Calvin Broadus, which is Snoop Dogg's given name. They are Frosted Drizzlers, Fruity Hoops, and Cinnamon Toasties. So these all sound very similar to some other cereals we may be familiar with, and let's do a little comparison. So let's start with this one since it's right in my hand. This is called Snoop Cereal Cinnamon Toasties, and that's what it looks like. It sounds a lot like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. It also looks a lot like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. So these were on sale at my market for 2 for $7, so $3.50 each. I believe they normally retail for $3.99. Now, here is Cinnamon Toast Crunch, cereal of my childhood. I remember eating a lot of this back in the 80s and 90s when I had sweet cereal. So we're gonna do a little taste test. We're gonna compare Cinnamon Toasties with Cinnamon Toast Crunch. If we look on the box, the cereals look very similar. Oh, this is cute. Look at this. Alrighty, let's taste the Snoop version first. And this is the Cinnamon Toasties. It smells great. It smells nice and cinnamony. It smells just like I remember Cinnamon Toast Crunch smelling like. So let's pour some in a bowl. And by the looks of it, very similar, no? Next, let's pour the Cinnamon Toast Crunch. The Cinnamon Toast Crunch was much more expensive. This was about $5.49 a box, and it's 12 ounces as well. So this smells very similar. I would say Snoop's actually smells more cinnamony than the Cinnamon Toast Crunch. All right, let's pour this one. Looks pretty similar. But what's a little bit different is that these have little ridges on them. Can you see that? Camera, focus please. So Cinnamon Toast Crunch has little ridges on it. Oh, and so does Snoop's. Look at that, Snoop's does too. But they don't seem to be as pronounced. See, Cinnamon Toast Crunch versus Snoop's. But by the looks of them, they look pretty similar. I would say that the Snoop version looks a little bit bigger. Each little piece maybe looks slightly bigger. Okay, we're gonna give them a dry taste first. This is the Snoop Dogg. Crunchy, sweet, and cinnamony. If someone were to give this to me blindfolded, I would say Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Sweet, delicious, cinnamony, great. Alrighty, let's compare that with the Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Little different. Maybe not as sweet. Let me try. Wow, now that I taste it, that tastes more cinnamony. Oh my gosh, I can't tell. They're both great. Could I tell the difference if they were blindfolded in terms of crunch? Very similar, very, very, very similar. I don't know that I can tell a difference. The Cinnamon Toast Crunch has a slightly different crunch. It's a little bit airier. The Snoop cereal, a little firmer crunch. And a little bit sweeter. But let's try them both with milk because that's how I would eat them. All right, let's try Snoop's. That's good. Cold milk, crunchy cereal, sweet and cinnamony, delicious. All right, Let's try the Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Dry, it was very difficult to discern a difference. Let's see if I notice anything with milk. Here we go. Snoop's tastes a little bit sweeter, slightly airier quality to the Cinnamon Toast Crunch in terms of texture. Pretty similar level of cinnamon flavor, even though this one had a more pronounced cinnamon smell when I opened them. This one tastes a little bit oilier to me too, the Cinnamon Toast Crunch, but very similar. So let's compare sugar and see how much sugar. Okay, so 1 cup is a serving for both of these, and the Snoop one has 180 calories versus 170 calories of the Cinnamon Toast Crunch. So 10 more calories in the Snoops, and in terms of fat, there's a little bit more fat in this one as well. I thought this one tasted more oily. The Cinnamon Toast Crunch also tastes saltier too. I think that's probably the biggest difference, is the salt. But the level of sugar, let's see, sugar's 12 grams versus 14 grams. So yes, the Snoop one is sweeter as well, but both of them are delicious. Alrighty, here we are comparing the shredded wheat. This is frosted, so that means there's some sugary sweetness on the outside. Looks very similar. Again, this was on sale for $3.50. These were regularly priced at $5.49. It smells like cardboard. I don't really notice a smell, pronounced smell. All right, so here are the frosted Drizzlers. So shredded wheat is a cereal that looks like this. These are the mini ones. There are large ones. I don't even know if you can buy the large ones anymore. And that's what they look like, kind of like bales of hay or something. And then on the other side, we've got some sugar on them, kind of like an icing. And let's open up the frosted mini wheats. These look pretty similar. Some kind of straw bale look to them with a frosted other side. Immediately I noticed that the frosted Drizzlers, the Snoop ones, seem to be a little bit more heavily coated than the shredded wheats. So let's try them dry first. This is the frosted Drizzler. Oh my god. This is a cereal I believe that should not be consumed dry. You bite into it, it kind of bursts into your mouth like a bunch of kind of twigs in your mouth with some sugariness. It tastes kind of oaty and, in my opinion, not very good because it is so dry, just a mouthful of like very fine pine needles in texture. It doesn't taste like pine. It tastes quite bland actually and sweet. Yeah, so I am not a fan of shredded wheat dry, sweetened or none, but that's kind of what I expected. Let's try the frosted mini wheat in comparison, dry. Pretty similar texture. I would say the frosted mini wheats strands seem to be a little bit finer. The pine needles seem to be a little bit thinner, but both of them kind of explode in your mouth in a mouth of kind of pine needly coarseness. This one also does not seem to taste as sweet. And now let's try it with milk, the way you're supposed to have it, in my opinion. I am a fan of crunchy cereal. I don't like my cereal sitting in milk for too long because it gets soggy. I don't like soggy cereal, but for this one, I really feel like you need some sort of liquid, some hydration. My mother-in-law, since she can't have milk, eats her cereal, like Raisin Bran, with orange juice. She says it's delicious. Do you have cereal, breakfast cereal with orange juice or any other juice or any other liquid for that matter besides milk? Tell me in the comments down below. I should not judge orange juice and cereal unless I've tried it, right? Shouldn't. Be open-minded. If you want me to try it, let me know. Alrighty, here we go. Here is our frosted Drizzler and milk. Much better with milk. It retains a little bit of crunch, but mostly it soaks up the milk, but doesn't get soggy, not quite yet. And it relieves you of that explosion of pine needle sensation. I feel like each serving of the Snoop cereal, the Frosted Drizzler, each bite seems to be a little bit bigger than the Frosted Mini Wheats. Let's try Mini Wheat. Here we go. There's a Mini Wheat. I'm gonna get some, make sure there's enough milk in that bite. There's a Frosted Mini Wheat. Here we go. Pretty similar texture. This one seems to be a little bit softer. It absorbs more of the milk, but the Snoop cereal is much sweeter, noticeably sweeter. But in terms of flavor, very similar. Just kind of a sweetness along with that shredded wheaty flavor. I don't know why I'm associating that with oat, but maybe it's the coarseness of the cereal. It reminds me of oat, but it tastes like wheat. This cereal in general is not my favorite. I find it quite bland, just like sweet and not that crunchy. I really like a big crunch in my cereal. This one's an F. But if I had to choose between these two, I would choose a Snoop because I like the additional sweetness. Texture is pretty similar. But if we compare nutrition facts, these actually have the same amount of calories though, even though I felt like this one was sweeter. See, 210. Total added sugars. Same. It says there's the same amount of sugar. Okay. Anyways, pretty similar here. Snoop versus Kellogg's. Lastly, we have these. We have Snoop cereal Fruity Hoops with marshmallows and Fruit Loops by Kellogg's. Fruity Hoops and Fruit Loops. If you look at both of them, they both have hoops, but this one has marshmallows in it as well. So a little bit of Lucky Charms, I think. And let's give them a taste. Is it going to have that lemony flavor that I associate with Fruit Loops? When I was a kid, I always thought Fruit Loops, all the different colors were individually flavored, and then had an epiphany one day and I said, no, they're all the same flavor. And it's like a lemony, citrusy flavor. So now you thought, oh, like a taste of the rainbow. You've got some strawberry, like fruit. Nope, all lemony. Alrighty, let's do a little comparison. Alrighty, this one is 12 ounces as well. And this one is 10 ounces, so a little bit fewer ounces in this one. All right, smell test. Oh yes. If I was blindfolded, I would immediately know that this was something Fruit Loop-like. Yep, same exact smell. Oh my gosh, it takes me back. I ate so many Fruity Pebbles. Fruity Pebbles has a similar smell to it too. All right, here we go. So we'll pour the Snoop Fruit Hoops in there and Fruit Loops. Oh yeah, same thing. All right, here we go. Oh, these look a little bit brighter in color. So maybe a little bit more food coloring. That's the Fruit Loops and that's the Fruit Hoops. Right, these look a little bit more vivid. And these of course have marshmallows in them. In terms of color, we have red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. And we have, I think, matching marshmallows too. Come on, give me more marshmallows. Man, the marshmallows are my favorite. I went through a Lucky Charms phase too when I was a wee lass, and they were my favorite. But I loved eating Lucky Charms plain with no milk. Okay, I can't find a yellow one, but I'm sure there's a yellow marshmallow somewhere. So there are the Fruity Hoops, rainbow of colors, and marshmallows. And in Fruit Loops, we have red, orange, yellow, green, same colors, blue and purple. These look a little bit different. They look a little thicker, fatter than the hoops. The hoops actually look more hoopish if we compare them side by side. Yeah, they're more round and symmetrical versus the Fruit Loops, which are actually kind of more like donuts. See that? So down below we have the Fruit Hoops, and then above we have the Fruit Loops. Yo, the loops look worse than the hoops. The hoops look better. More even, more symmetrical, less warped and misshapen. All right, we're gonna go with fruity hoops first. Here we go. Oh my gosh, yes. A lemony, sweety, crunchy, slightly spongy crunch. Sweet, exactly how I remember Fruit Loops tasting. If I was blindfolded, I would never know if there was any difference. All right, now let's try the Fruit Loops. Oh, those are different. The Loops are more airy. And these actually taste sweeter. Wait a minute. Really? Yeah. The Fruit Loops taste slightly sweeter than the Fruit Hoops, but the Fruit Hoops contain marshmallows. So maybe that's why there's a little additional sugar in the Loops. I don't know. But in terms of flavor, very similar levels of lemoniness. And I think if I was blindfolded, I don't know that I would be able to discern a difference. The texture is slightly different. These are kind of an airier kind of crunch, and these are a little denser. These ones taste sweeter, but I was just comparing the cereals themselves, not the marshmallows. So let's try them with milk. So milk. These ones seem to have more food coloring in them too. We're having the Fruity Hoops first. Here we go. Itadakimasu. Wow. Now I got the marshmallows, and those are very sweet. The marshmallows taste just like the marshmallows I recall from Lucky Charms, kind of chalky, sweet, with a little injection of kind of vanilla essence. Oh my gosh, but that hard, chalky, dry marshmallow, I have not had that experience in a long time. It's kind of slightly squeaky, kind of styrofoamy. Yes, very sweet. All right, now let's try the Fruit Loops. Now that I've had the Fruity Hoops with the marshmallows, that is definitely sweeter than the Fruit Loops. Even though when I try them dry, this one seems sweeter. With the marshmallows, this one's definitely sweeter. Also, the Fruit Loops have a more pronounced lemony flavor. Again, I think the marshmallows interfere with that lemoniness. So this is much more distinctive lemony, fruity Fruit Loops flavor. As opposed to this one. Which has more of a vanilla flavor from those marshmallows. I chuckled because remember how the marshmallows get a little bit slimy as they kind of absorb the milk? Definitely experienced that. This one's way sweeter. This one is more lemonier. This one's a classic Fruit Loops because it is, and this one tastes like Fruit Loops mixed with the marshmallows from Lucky Charms. Like, exactly. But yeah, definitely more sugar in this one. The Fruity Hoops definitely remind me of memories from my childhood because of the marshmallow experience. I ate so many bowls of Lucky Charms as a kid. Actually, it was knockoff Lucky Charms. It was like the store brand, but the same kind of thing happened with the marshmallows. So if we compare nutrition facts for the both of these, this has 7 servings. So both of these are 1 1/3 cups for servings. And they both contain the same amount of calories, 150 calories, which I find really surprising because this one is significantly sweeter in my opinion, but maybe the serving size is not any smaller. Both of them are 39 grams. So same number of calories, but this one has 19 grams of sugar versus 12 grams of sugar. So this is definitely sweeter. So where are the calories coming from? Not sure. We need a food scientist to do this analysis for me. Or my youngest. My youngest loves to compare nutrition facts, so I shall put him to work. This one is also saltier, but there's so much sugar, it's hard for me to notice that. I forgot to comment on the kind of base flavor, like when you have a Cheeto Puff, like what's the base flavor? This base flavor tastes corny to me, the shredded wheat tastes wheaty, and the Cinnamon Toast Crunch tastes ricey, but I don't know if that's really the case. Is it? No, it's wheat. Oh, but there's rice. Yes, there's rice flour. Yes. in both of these already. So, and there's corn in this. Is there corn in this? I have to make sure that my taste buds, corn flour blend. Alrighty, so my taste buds tell me the truth. Alrighty, my lovelies, there you have it. My little taste test comparison of the Snoop brand cereals versus the cereals of my childhood. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that one. I hope you learned something. Please share this video with your friends. Follow me on social media. Get in touch with me. I love hearing from you. Like this video, subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one. Toodaloo, take care. Bye!